So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Hey gamers. Activision recently announced a new system that has since been put in place for the way you access DLC content in Call of Duty. The first of these being for Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Awakening, which landed on the PlayStation 4 this February 2nd. This process means that instead of having to wait for the DLC to show up in your in-game store and then you're having to wait for the DLC to install before you can play the new content, you now receive an update to the game the day before the DLC goes live, which contains the map pack within it. Once the clock ticks over for the release of the DLC, you simply click Activate on the map pack and you can start playing right away. This is a great idea for those who definitely are getting their season pass or are planning on maybe buying the map packs individually, as pre-installation of DLC is something that we have been requesting for quite some time. However, what if that's not you? What if you had no intention of purchasing the DLC packs and were just happy with the base game? You no longer have the option to choose if that content is or is not downloaded to your console, as you must have the update that is bundled with it in order for you to continue playing online. Not that big a deal, really, is it? Well, yes and no. If you have a data cap, then this is quite a big deal to you, particularly if you have to be frugal with your consumption rate, or if your storage is close to full and you don't have room for the map pack along with the update, then you're going to have to remove a game in order to make space for that DLC that you're not even going to play. All that aside though, even if we can get past the DLC being forced installed with the update, or even if we in fact have no issue with it at all, that still brings us to the question of why? Why have Activision taken this path as opposed to allowing us to simply pre-install the DLC from the game store? Would it not make more sense to allow those who want to pre-install it to do so, leaving those who have no interest in the DLC at all to not be put in the position where they are forced into downloading it with the patch update? Well, yes, of course, that makes more sense, but it's certainly nowhere near as profitable. All who currently play Call of Duty Black Ops 3 online via the PlayStation 4 now have the DLC Map Pack Awakening installed on their hard drive. They see their friends playing it. They see the options sitting in the mode selections, and they get a constant reminder that it's available every time they load the game via the daily message. Now, all of a sudden, it's no longer a case of having to wait sometimes up to several hours if you have slow or patchy download speeds for the DLC to install, plus of course the price tag. It's now just the cost of the DLC standing in the way of you joining your friends who are already enjoying the new DLC. I see this as extremely convenient, whilst at the same time being a severe case of not only clever marketing, but also removing all excuses but the price tag when your friends are pressuring you to purchase that DLC so you can continue gaming with them. As we know, a very large portion of the FPS community are teenagers and in some cases much younger, and those are the people who are most susceptible to this kind of marketing system. This is a large reason why microtransactions have become so prominent in gaming, as the ease of purchase is but only a couple of button presses away. When you remove all obstacles to access things such as DLC and only leave a very quick purchase process to complete, then you make your product much more attractive. Not many gamers are going to initiate an installation that can take sometimes hours to complete while they're gaming with their friends online, knowing that by the time it's installed their friends will no longer be on. However, many more will in fact pay a small fee to be able to play it instantly. This new process does exactly that. It removes all barriers to accessing that content instantly by your credit card or PayPal account. Now, is there anything wrong with this? Essentially, no. It is clever marketing that at the end of the day, the final decision comes down to the individual who is making that purchase. Is this promoting purchase through peer pressure or desire to be able to continue playing with your friends who have the content that you don't? It most certainly is. For most of us, this isn't even a consideration, as generally a large portion of the Call of Duty community purchase at least a map pack or two, if not the entire season pass. For those who don't though, this takes away their right to choose what is and is not installed on their hard drive if they wish to remain gaming online, and puts those who are most susceptible to peer pressure and impulse buying in a position where they will most likely end up making that purchase. You decide, is forced DLC okay? If this starts to become the norm across all online games that have a DLC component, will it bother you if between 5 and 20 gigabytes, depending on how many games you own and the size of each DLC, is added to your storage per month simply because you have the option to purchase and play instantly? Not to mention that as far as we can tell, you can't delete the map packs from your console, as it appears like it's a part of the game, not a separate add-on until you've actually made the purchase. So you're stuck with roughly between 6 to 7 gigabytes on your hard drive that you can't remove, which over the lifespan of Black Ops 3 will add up to approximately 26 gigabytes. I can only imagine to how much that will blow out to if this is a trial run by Activision to see how well this process is received. I can see this becoming an issue in the future. Whilst it's a convenience that I will in fact enjoy when I go to activate my DLC maps once they hit the Xbox One, I would have just as happily gone and pre-downloaded the DLC at my own convenience from the in-game store instead of having it automatically installed due to it being locked into a necessary patch update. Clever marketing system, peer pressure enabled, revenue generating. Not really the direction I'd like to see DLC headed in. Now before I end this video, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Jabari from the Council for providing the footage that you've been watching. The Council is an EXL sponsored podcast, and I'm going to start incorporating more footage from our sponsored channels into my videos from time to time so you can check out how they all get down. To take a listen to the latest podcast from the Council, see a link in the description below. Thanks guys.